Good evening and welcome to the October 15th City of Half Moon Bay Council meeting. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Patridge? Here. Councilmember Alfano?
Here.
Vice Mayor Muller?
Here.
Councilmember Fraser? Here. Mayor Falchuk?
Here, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. And our first item is recognition to the San Mateo County Green Business Program. And I want to recognize the Coastside Land Trust and Half Moon Bay Coastside Chamber of Commerce. I have proclamations from the county that I'm going to present. But I just want to say a few words about the program. The Green Business Program recognizes and assists businesses that operate in an environmentally friendly manner. Businesses who are certified go through a rigorous assessment process to become a certified green business. I want to thank the businesses for their environmentally friendly practices and encourage City of Half Moon Bay businesses to go through the process and become part of the county program. But if you join me at the podium, I'd like to recognize the Coastside Land Trust and Half Moon Bay Chamber of Commerce. So we'll present the first one to the Coastside Land Trust. If you'd like to say a few words, that would be great.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the program and all your hard work in our community.
And I want to thank you, Rick, for the certificate, and all the city council for voting for it too. And I know you read a rigorous qualification. It really wasn't that difficult. So it's just a matter of paying attention and making the right decisions. So I really urge other businesses to follow suit. Thank you.
Thank you. And secondly, to the Half Moon Bay Coastside Chamber of Commerce. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. We did found the first broad-based ecotourism program in the state of California in 2004 and have worked very hard to bring ecotourism to the coastside. And also we became a Bay Area green business and then San Mateo County green business about 3 years ago, and we'll also help other businesses to become green, help them go through the paperwork if they need that as well. Thank you very much for the recognition.
Through the chair, can I make a comment?
Yes, please. Thank you.
I sit on the San Mateo County Congestion Management, and we do talk about the green businesses, and I'm so happy to see that Half Moon Bay is involved. And I want to thank Sharice and Joe for their participation in that program, because it is an extensive program. Joe says you have to pay attention, you do, but it is extensive. So thank you so much.
Yes, Alan, please.
I agree, and in order to educate the other businesses in town, we might either want to consider putting something in the next newsletter, or at a minimum, at least maybe have a link on our website that explains the procedures and where you go and so forth. Because I have to agree, it's a smart thing to be doing, and I think other businesses would be interested if they kind of understood how to go about it.
I agree, that makes sense. The next item, I'd like to ask Katie Martin. Katie is our appointee to the Half Moon Bay Mosquito Abatement District, and you have a presentation for us today.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Right there. Okay. Good evening. My name is Katie Martin. I'm a resident here in Half Moon Bay and your representative to the San Mateo County Mosquito Abatement Special District. I'm also currently the foreperson of the San Mateo Civil Grand Jury. And I mention that at the outset
because it has had an impact on my connection to the mosquito district. For those of you who don't know much about the district began in 1904, almost 110 years ago. Mosquito-borne illnesses out here on the coast were rampant in those times with all the open space and agriculture. Even so, the district stayed small with just a few areas of the county for many years, but it now has grown through voter approval to include the entire county. The district was primarily a mosquito abatement program until 2008 when the Board of Supervisors, the County Board of Supervisors, passed a resolution to transfer all vector control operations and responsibilities to the mosquito district. The district's mission statement is to safeguard the health and comfort of the citizens of San Mateo County through a planned program to monitor and reduce mosquitoes and other vectors. Their primary goal is to discover the location of biting mosquitoes, apply pesticides at the larval stage, evaluate new, more environmentally sustainable pesticides, monitor other types of vectors, and provide prevention information to the county residents. The Board of Supervisors, the Board of Trustees is comprised of one representative from each city and one from the unincorporated areas. Trustees are appointed by their various city councils. The district is funded by tax dollars primarily. There are a little bit of ERAF funds there. A benefits assessment on the northwestern portion of the county that came much later after the creation of the district. And some enterprise services such as mosquito control out at the sewer plant in Redwood City, spraying up in the San Francisco area, primarily at the zoo. And for that they pay us. The district's current annual budget is $1.5 million approximately, and there are reserves right now of approximately $5 million. The Board of Trustees is currently examining the best allocation of those reserves. The district has a state-of-the-art laboratory facility in Burlingame, which is where the district offices are, where suspect insects and vectors such as rats, raccoons, mosquitoes, birds can be evaluated for illness. Tests on mosquitoes can be turned around in 1 day now. The district's most significant current issue is the discovery of a mosquito named Aedes aegypti. This little mosquito carries a yellow fever, dengue fever, and several other icky things. This little guy is from Africa. He's migrated to all of the subtropical areas of the world and is being carried by human beings to the non-subtropical areas. Several insects were discovered by the Holy Cross Cemetery in Menlo Park in late August. The district went to war against this mosquito with the cooperation of the county health department and the Menlo Park Police Department, with over 1,000 informational door hangers being deployed in and around the cemetery, and a door-to-door campaign that involved over 900 homes, with inspections and setting up multiple types of traps and supplying the residents down there with prevention information. The district has recently gained access to a community website called Nextdoor that allows the district to post activity in individual communities providing prevention reports and reporting information. The activity appears to have nipped the problem in the bud, as over the past 6 weeks now, there have only been 3 adult Aedes aegypti mosquitoes found. We're also getting into a colder area of the year when they won't be a threat to us. The district is also very aggressive in its surveillance of mosquitoes with regard to the spread of West Nile virus. Although the vector is more prevalent in the Central Valley, there have been a number of them captured in and around the Bay Area, and 4 of the birds, wild birds that were brought in for testing, tested positive. But there have been no reported cases of human contact with it. Tick season, fall is tick season, and ticks bring Lyme disease. The district routinely inspects trails and parks and provides free testing for any tick brought into the facility. For people who have fish ponds or bird baths in their yard, the district will provide free mosquito fish. They're little fish that you never have to feed. You just put them in and they eat the mosquitoes, and that's all they eat. They will deliver them to you, and they're absolutely free. All that a resident has to do is call the district, and they'll bring them out. For residents who have rodent problems, if you get some raccoons under your house or have mice in the house or something, the district will have a technician come out and evaluate the situation for you, give you advice on how to eradicate them and how to prevent them from coming back. Okay, now to the real issue of the day. I'm sure you all have heard about the embezzlement that occurred in the district. The financial managers embezzled over $800,000 from the district. There followed a criminal investigation, criminal trial. Those people are waiting, well, they have been sentenced, but they're waiting incarceration. And a subsequent assessment by the San Mateo grand jury. As a matter of transparency, I was a member of that grand jury. I did not sit on that committee. I did not vote on the report that was issued by the grand jury. I also have not participated in any of the discussions or voting on the district's response. I do know that there is still some potential insurance reimbursement and restitution that are pending in the matter. I would, however, like to comment on the district's actions to prevent a reoccurrence. Things have changed drastically at the district as a result of this. The district hired an outside accounting firm to completely audit the district's financial operation and practices. The result of that audit led the district to restructure several job descriptions with more immediate oversight by the Board of Trustees. A new financial director was hired, of course. An assistant manager position was created and staffed. The policy committee was restructured, and the committee is reviewing every district policy and amending same with California Special District Association best practices. Most recently, the district has committed to updating their website to both adhere to accepted transparency requirements and to make the site more resident-friendly. And I can see from the last page of your agenda that you're aware that there is a continuing inquiry through LAFCO as to the viability and desirability of retaining the district. After LAFCO's recent service review, their recommendation was to retain the district with noted changes. The decision was questioned by some voters, brought to the county supervisors, and is currently under study by LAFCO in concert with the county health department. That being said, the county does publish a monthly report that is available to all citizens. I believe you're all on the mailing list. If not, I can certainly get you on it. And I can answer any questions you have, but I need to warn you that I'm still on the learning curve with regard to the science.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Any comments, questions? Marina, some comments?
Thank you. Katie, thank you for that information. One thing I was very interested in, that you mentioned that you had tips and tricks about how to deal with raccoons. I think there would be great interest, not only in Half Moon Bay, but from some others along the coast too. Maybe in the future, if the council's interested, that could be a presentation alone here, as well as information in our newsletter. We have a great raccoon problem. The raccoons on Main Street come out at 10 o'clock at night, and I think a lot of residents are trying to find humane ways to deal with this. So if you've got ways and different things people should be doing, I think there'd be great interest in that.
I know that several of the technicians would just love to come and tell you all about how to get rid of the raccoons. And if you advertise it, I'm sure you get the entire colony and Kenyatta because they're amazingly prevalent down there.
All right, so we can keep in touch with you and schedule something
problem.
for the future.
Also the fish. The fish is a great thing. These little fish that you just put in your backyard pond. If you've got a pump back there and they've got clean water, they'll eat all the mosquitoes in your yard.
So I think we should just do two things. One, we should make plans to have the raccoon discussion at a future meeting, and we'll alert the public of that when that's going to happen. We'll work with you on that. Also alert the local newspapers so they can do a corresponding article on that. It might be good. And I understand Councilmember Alafano informs me that the little mosquito fish are also quite tasty. Is that true? Not true.
I haven't eaten them.
We don't have confirmation. Yeah. Great.
In batter.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you very much for serving in this district.
Thank you.
Next item is a presentation from Granada Sanitary District. Chuck? And Chuck, the button's already pushed, so you're ready.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Chuck Duffy. I'm the General Manager of Granada Sanitary District, and thankfully for you all, I'm not here to talk about sewers tonight. I'm here to talk about parks and recreation. As most of you are aware, there's been a real lack of parks and recreation opportunities on the unincorporated mid-coast side for years and years. So as a result of this, my district has applied to LAFCO to reorganize into a community service district with the addition of parks and recreation powers. Now we propose to fund this measure by reallocating some of the property tax we currently receive as part of our sewer service, and we reallocate that to parks and recreation services as needed if this proposal went forward. We are currently in the process of probably the past year doing community outreach. So I've spoken to a lot of groups, Mid-Coast Community Council, the school district, the Ag Council, and a few others are here before your council tonight. So I understand this isn't an action item tonight, but what we eventually look for is a letter of support for our proposal. We are also going to be looking at partnering opportunities if this proposal goes forward with the school district and with yourself, because if we get Parks and Recs powers, I think we can work together to provide it to the entire mid-coast side, where it's kind of been, the burden's been on your city for all these years. And so the plan moving forward is to hopefully get in front of the LAFCO board at their November meeting, and then if the commission approves it, it goes to a vote of the people in probably July 2014. And I think that's one of the key points of this proposal, is to get it to a vote of the people, so it's not just a few people in the district doing it, but the people get to vote on whether they want to provide Parks and Rec services up throughout our district. So that's my proposal, and if anyone's got any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Great, thank you, Chuck. And Councilmember Patrick.
I have some questions, Chuck. I know that you're talking about using property tax for the recreation district. So my concern is, as a Half Moon Bay resident and an official, what about the people that we have in the city of Half Moon Bay who already pay for recreation, and so now they will be paying an additional recreation fee through yours? Or have you talked about any of those kind of things, or are you just going through general concepts?
I just gave you the general overall proposal. I'm sorry. Didn't know it turned out there. I gave you the general overall proposal, but I've been working with Alex and Martha Coyatos at LAFCO to address exactly that issue. So there is a portion of the property tax that people pay in Half Moon Bay that does go to our districts, and we're looking at repurposing that over to your city to make it fair, because as you pointed out, they shouldn't be paying twice. And just for clarification also, we will not be providing Parks and Rec services in any area of the city of Half Moon Bay. So it's just going to be that section of our district that's outside of Half Moon Bay.
Okay, so now are you providing recreation or are you providing parks? Are you doing both?
Both.
Both,
Both,
okay.
yes.
All right.
Helen.
Chuck, thank you for coming tonight. The one thing I would like to see from maybe an Alex, and you can help put this together, is the current financials, property tax, where does it go? And then Plan B, if you become a community service district, what that would look like from a financial standpoint. I'm very interested in what the changes are going to look like. How do you finance the new activities? And I guess part of it would be not take away from also maintaining, your sewer part, which you currently are only doing right now. So I don't want anything complicated, just, kind of before and after, and what are the effects? How's it financed?
Yeah, we've actually got something like that. We've got a sample budget as part of our application to LAFCO, but I can certainly show you all in more detail how much money we get from property tax, what percentage of our district budget it is, things like that. And I've gone through all that, and like I said, we're working with Alex to kind of bring him up to speed so we can see what's happening.
Great, thank you. Any other comments, questions? So I just have one general question for you, Chuck, and thank you for your presentation and all the work you're doing. So could you, I guess, articulate your vision for where you see this going? In the end state, what would it look like? What would it be? And I guess throw why in there.
Well, let me start with the why. I think the why is there's no other real governmental agency on the coast side that has the ability to do this. And if you look at what happened, I'm sure you're all aware of what happened at the Moss Beach Park, where it got sold out from under because it's tough keeping these nonprofits, going and looking at that stuff. So that's kind of the why. The looking forward is a little more difficult, and we've had this discussion with LAFCO because people are looking for specific projects, and I can't give that to them at this point in time because we're not a Parks and Recreation district, and I can't spend money on that. We've had a lot of things suggested, activities on the Burnham Strip, pocket parks along the broad avenues in El Granada, partnering with the county at Quarry Park, partnering with your city on things. So we've had a lot of ideas, but we haven't put anything down on paper. And kind of the goal is to get this thing in place and then start soliciting input from the people. We've actually got it's a good time to announce it, a public meeting at 7:30 on Thursday at El Granada School where we're soliciting more public input. And we sent out a mailer to everyone in the district to invite them to that meeting.
So, and you indicated you'll at some point you'll come back to the council and ask for a letter of support. I think something that will go a long way to getting that support, at least from my perspective, would be your ability to articulate a vision of what it will be. Not projects per se, but what the end state will be, what you're trying to accomplish. And I don't want to put you on the spot to do that now,
Okay.
but it's difficult to say what a great idea, because it's just 4 words, right? So I really hope to see that. We can always work offline and talk about what that is to help us understand it.
Okay, I'd be glad to.
Thank you very much, Chuck.
All right, thanks.
Next item is Mayor's announcements of community activities and community service. Bear with me a moment. So the upcoming activities, I can't think of much going on in the next few days, other than 250,000 people coming to Half Moon Bay and to enjoy our beautiful city. So of course this weekend is the 43rd annual Half Moon Bay Art and Pumpkin Festival, Saturday and Sunday. I'm sure we're all aware. We have lots of visitors coming to our community, so it's a great time to show everybody a warm welcome. Also a great time for all of our organizations to be active in fundraising and providing services where we all really benefit from that. So I know that's going on. The festival opens at 9 a.m. on Saturday, also on Sunday. A couple things to point out of interest. 7 a.m. Saturday is the pancake breakfast at McAdootra Park. There's a costume contest at the Half Moon Bay Library at 10 a.m. And if you have not seen it, it's awesome. And thankfully, I'm not a judge this year because it's brutal. And there's just so many adorable kids and adults and families and teams. It's really great. There's the parade at noon on Main Street on Saturday, a pie eating contest at 2, and all other sorts of activities all day long. So I'm sure everyone's going to participate and enjoy that and make that another memorable event. More information about this event and others on the Chamber website, the Library website, and the City website. Any other events or activities worth noting?
I just want to announce that JT Snow will be the Grand Marshal for the parade. So we're really excited about that. And I would like to say that we did have the Way Off, and Ida Muller got the grand prize for the coast side. Her pumpkin came in 1,094 pounds, and her spouse came in second. So it was a great day for the ladies on the coast side.
Well, it's clear that it doesn't upset John. I understand he's looking at other professions. No, the pumpkin whale was great. It was a great event. Huge crowd and lots of beautiful pumpkins and lots of local, regional, national attention. Well, our great city, so that's awesome. Next item are council reports. Councilmember Patrick, should report up.
I was on vacation for 2 weeks, and I had a great time, and came back just in time for the festival and to see Ida win.
Thank you. Councilmember Alfano.
Well, I wasn't on vacation, but I got to do a couple of really fun things. We went to the economic development meeting at the chamber, and it was interesting. The questions are really trying to ask you, what are your visions? What are we looking to accomplish in terms of improving economic development in our community? So it was a very interesting meeting. And then on the 27th, we went to the Carrillo School District, and they talked about their strategic plan. And again, there were a lot of interesting questions, trying to find out what is it, living on the coast, what are you looking for the school district to do in terms of improvements, facilities, and so forth. So it was, again, two very good meetings, and I think the takeaway is that this is a clear sign that parts of our community are trying to move things forward, trying to make things better. And you don't do it without activities and involvement, and that's what these two things are after. So I was very happy to be involved in both of those.
Vice Mayor Muller.
Thank you. Yes, it was a very exciting time this week and this month and this year, this week it felt like. I started at 4 in the morning with all the top growers at the IDS grounds, and I can tell you, they come to Half Moon Bay. They love to come to Half Moon Bay. Beautification Committee and the group do a great job. There were some big pumpkins that were taken other places, but that individual does not give back to the community the way this community does. So I think it's very, very important that. And I want you to know, our plant started on April 14th. They don't just happen. It's 6 months to the date when we cut that one in the morning. And it's a lot of work and energy. And I think the nicest compliment you could get from the big boys and girls out there is that, for us to Half Moon Bay to have 2,000 pound plus is pretty darn good. So quite proud about that. They set me up. They told me mine was going to weigh heavy. That's normal. It's just a great week. And then this afternoon, I had 20 riders, travel riders from Europe at the farm. And I had to clean 20 pumpkins for them. And it's the first time in their lives they've ever carved a pumpkin. It was really fascinating. It was very, very good. A hayride, they carved a pumpkin and rushed off over the hill. But that was pretty amazing. And we talk about economic development and people passing through, and I'll bring it in November. I have a world map at the farm, and you cannot believe the hundreds of pins I have from all over the world that stop by to visit this year. And Europe is leading the way. But almost every country, and probably the most special visitor we had was he rode in on a motorcycle. Took him 5 years to get to Half Moon Bay, and he was riding for world peace. And there's times in this city we could use some world peace. And he had been beat up and robbed and mugged and whatever throughout the world, but he's visiting every country in the world. And he was able to visit with some school children who were at the farm at the time. It was really very, very moving occasion, and I gave him a Half Moon Bay pin to take on his world travel, and it's just a special time for all of us on the coastside. So I feel very fortunate to be part of it. So we just have a busy week ahead, and we'll go to bed in November.
Thank you very much, John. And I think it's great you can bring us these anecdotal stories of visitors from around the world that come to Half Moon Bay to enjoy our little slice of the world. Thanks for sharing that. Marina, Councilmember Frazier.
And I was gone for most of the time too. I was involved in a study abroad program, and it was in Scotland. And an opportunity, I went with a group of international municipal clerks and government. And the travels were through different city councils within Scotland, and it was every type of subject, from tourism to land trust to sustainability to agriculture to marketing, economic development. And it was very special for me, as both my parents were born in Scotland, and one of the cities we visited with was Glasgow, the city chambers there, along with 7 other cities and got to meet with Scottish Parliament as well. Just a few brief things, and there's some things I'll follow up with other people in town. And Joe Chamberlain, I'll be talking to you about some information I got from the land trusts over there near Loch Lomond, and everywhere I went, I brought pins of Half Moon Bay, and they were fascinated with pumpkins, and told them all to tune into CNN on Monday to see Half Moon Bay. They grow turnips and neeps in Scotland. They don't grow pumpkins, and there's a couple of people I need to send some seeds from you, John, so they were very interested in looking at these pumpkins, fascinated by them. But a very special trip, and their election process is interesting. Scotland is going through a program now for Scottish independence, and from polls and different things, I think people seem to like the idea and the patriotism of Scotland being independent from the rest of the UK, but I don't believe sustainability-wise they can do it. And an interesting part of this is in their elections, they still mark ballots by hand. They do not have voting machines there. So everywhere across, they have to mark it out with a piece of paper that gets scanned in. So they're fascinated with our election process, how we know within a day, or in smaller towns and councils, you know right away. Asking them if they would go to voting machines in the future, they felt that they would skip that and probably go straight to electronics as a way of getting other people to vote. Now the interesting thing here, and I couldn't believe this, but asking what is your percentage of voters that do vote? They said 70 to 80. At first we said, is that 7 to 8%? No, they get 70 to 80% of the population votes, which is incredible numbers. So very engaged, but again, that was there was a hot button issue. So met the woman who is in charge of elections, and Siobhan, you'll be interested to know, these town clerks, or clerks as they call them in Scotland, have very different roles. They're associated with the party, and they do a lot of administrative roles, and most of them are solicitors. They are attorneys and have an attorney background. So their local councils, they don't have them. In the 70s, they stopped having a big local council like we do in our counties. They have advisory committees that report into a more regional thing, so it would be similar to our county, but that county has a huge wide area, and there's 32 of these groups within it. So fascinating to learn a lot of this. And just one last thing I'll share, it just really goes to show this is such a small world. Almost every town I went to, people knew or heard of Half Moon Bay. And it floored me. A lot of it they knew because of some of the Pumpkin Festival. A lot of it was because of Mavericks. They had learned about it and met someone from Scottish Parliament whose son is coming out next year, wants to surf Mavericks. So I told him I'd go and meet with Jeff Clark and get him out there. But it was one night in particular. It was like a cabaret show. And I'll show you a couple of connections. So the man was going around asking people where they were from, and just kind of a little talk with them. And he came over to me and said, where are you from? And I said, California. And because he was a singer doing traditional Highland folk songs, I asked him, have you ever been to Highland Games, which is something my father had been involved with, and had he come to the Caledonian Club's annual games? And he said, no, he could never get in. So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh, did my father keep him out? But the odd thing was, he said, no, the first time I was ever in America, I came to a small town in Northern California. It's called Half Moon Bay. You could have knocked me off my chair. The whole table and around me were just, oh my God. And then he further said, and I played at a place called Cameron's, do you know him? So, how ironic, I'm just happened to be in a place, having dinner, watching a cabaret show, and a man is randomly going around asking that. We had that connection. And just to take it just a little bit more, he was a good singer, and I wondered, oh gosh, my father would really like him. My mother found a tape that he had of this man, Bruce Davis, and in the last day or so, we're still cleaning out some of Dad's things. And in his file, he had correspondence from this man. So here I'm thinking Dad would have really liked this singer. Dad had met him in 1995, and when he was here in 2001. Now the other little piece is, in the program, there was all these different cities this person had toured, and there were quotes. And there was one from the Half Moon Bay Review. Stacy Trevenon had done an article about him when he played at Cairns. What a small world. So that was my adventure, and lots more to follow up on with different people throughout town that pertains to them. So it's a great trip, great
Wow,
experience.
That's fascinating. Thanks for sharing that. It is a small world, and it also tells you just how great a place we live, right? It carries. So my community meetings and involvement over the past several weeks, I've got a few things to share. I want to highlight that some number of years ago today, there was a new bright spot appeared on the coast, and I want to acknowledge Marina's birthday today and wish you a happy birthday. Many, many, many more, and thank you for the cake. There's some cake in the back if you want to also celebrate Marina's birthday with us. There are a couple things to know. I participated in the Half Moon Bay International Marathon, and by participated I mean that I welcomed everybody and said, have a good run. And it's pretty inspirational and motivational. There's a large crowd, a great highlight of the coast, and a really excellent event. I also participated in the COSAG garage sale, which I want to thank the Allied Waste and Half Moon Bay Review for facilitating. I picked up some great things, and it's an excellent way to just reuse items and make somebody else's old items became my new items, and they didn't go into landfill, and I'm getting great use out of them. And I bought far too many music CDs. I also worked with a volunteer from our local beach and did a walk of Pilositos Creek from the ocean up through to the post office, which was pretty interesting. It was wide open and beautiful in spots, challenging and tree-covered in spots, but the condition reported was quite good. Noteworthy is that the number of plastic bags seen is far fewer, and I think that's we haven't even been a year into this into our bag policy, and it makes a big difference. There's still some around, and what a crappy mess these things make when they deteriorate. It's really horrible. But there's still some around, but far, far fewer than in the past, or so I'm told, and so I observed. I also observed something pretty interesting, which I was surprised to see. On 5 occasions while I was walking through a deeper little pool, walking through with waders, a little steelhead jutted out in front of me. It's always good to see that, and a great, big, beautiful owl circled around. Kind of nice to see that wildlife. But the Pilositos Creek is in good shape, at least from my observation, and it was good to be able to see that side of things. That's something you can see every day. I was also at the Pumpkin Way Off, and I want to congratulate grower Gary Miller from Napa for his 1,985-pound pumpkin. I sort of got sneered at and booed when I predicted a pumpkin less than 2,000 pounds in the festival. Breach of etiquette. But I'm happy that I was wrong, and it was a much bigger pumpkin. I also participated in the economic development meetings hosted by the Chamber of Commerce, and I want to thank Charisse and the Chamber for their work to put those on and to bring in some consultants to help us develop an economic plan. I was also part of the strategic planning with the Cabrillo School District, and we did brainstorming, shared new ideas. My challenge for them was to, when they do strategic planning, to be aggressive and don't play it safe. It's schools, it's our children, and we really need to push it. And all kinds of great ideas came up, from longer school days to uniforms to bringing in new technology. It is a really wide open discussion, and I'm glad we're having discussions like that. It means we're moving forward, and we're not just trying to muddle along how we are today. I also attended CCAG, the City County Association of Governments San Mateo meeting, and in that meeting we selected a new representative for the Resource Management and Climate Protection Committee, and that is Beth Bhatnagar, who was selected. There was also a candidate from the Committee for the Green Foothills who also vied for that seat. But Beth was selected, and she is her affiliation. I have to find this. Gosh, I can't find it. I don't have my notes here, but she's been involved in conservation issues. From Sustainable San Mateo County. It's her organization. She's been involved in that for more than I think 10 years. And then I've also been having ongoing congestion management discussions with with CCAG, and I will continue to have those, and I'll have those with you as well, Naomi, because apparently we have some congestion. And the last thing I want to note is I gave a fairly extensive interview today with NBC News. That was a follow-up because 3 or so years ago, when we were in serious financial trouble, we hit the national press about it being a difficult time and the demise and downfall and potential insolvency of Half Moon Bay. We 20, 30 minutes on the phone, lots of questions, but really it was, I'm really happy that they did the follow-up, and I think it's going to play toward election time, toward November, early November, and once I get more, I'll share that with you guys. But the story was initially started out with a discussion about contracting for law enforcement with the county, and any bumps in the road for that, advice we'd have for other communities who are going through such things. But the story was great because I was able to say we faced insolvency, we faced serious risk, and we made decisions to partner with the county for law enforcement. We made decisions to partner with other cities for our Parks and Rec, and we got as efficient as we could, and we rode out that storm, and we're heading in the right direction, and we've got traction as a community, financially and with the services we're providing to our city. And it was great to be able to tell that story because 3 or 4 years ago when I was giving interviews, it was horrible, and it was dark and grim, and so I'm very happy we're in a much better place. So when that comes out, I'll make sure we share that with everybody. And with that, that's all I have to report for my activities, and Alan, you have something.
I forgot about this, John reminded me of talking about the pumpkins. I don't know how many of you saw the review. In the front, they had a little fact section. And they said, and these are round numbers, I don't remember the exact. They said 1978, the Winnie pumpkin was 300 pounds. In 1991, it was 700 pounds. In 2001, it was 1,000 pounds. And literally this year now, it's almost 2,000 pounds. From 300 to 2,000. I don't know what they're feeding those pumpkins, but that's an amazing jump in 35 years.
That's awesome. Just the technology and the good soil. John, you have a comment for that?
I do it every day with the children. It's a handful of seed, location, skill, weather, and luck. So the guy that pops a 1,000-pounder, 2,000-pounder, next year goes a 200-pounder. And I didn't include that in my presentation, but Washington and Oregon really got hammered this year. They just couldn't get down here. And they're big growers up there. But the number one growers in the world right now are out in Napa, Sonoma, and it's genetics. They got some fabulous seeds. Gary Miller, the seed that Edith's pumpkin went on was a Gary Miller seed, 1429. So everyone has numbers, but good stock in those seeds. But it's very nurturing and very spiritual to grow a giant pumpkin.
That's great, thank you. And now we have a report out on organizational excellence in the technology update.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Kowalczyk, members of the City Council. I suppose it's hardly worth mentioning, but I am not the city manager. But in her absence, I get to introduce your organizational excellence report, which is a technology update this evening being presented by Cindy Johnson, our senior account technician.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to provide you with a technology update. We have implemented a number of new technologies and updated several others. Our credit card technology. We now accept credit card payments for most of our fees. This was a process that our residents, contractors, and staff have been wanting to implement for some time now. We had to research and learn all about credit card security, best practices, and other government policies for accepting credit cards. New computers. Due to multiple platforms of software and limited memory on outdated computers, the city has equipped every workstation at City Hall and the maintenance yard with new computers and unified the operating systems with Windows 7 and Office 2010, and increased the size of monitors to 24 inches. Now staff can share files without errors, maintain version control. Wireless access. With the expanding staff and consultants at City Hall and increased use of wireless-based technology, smartphones, tablets, and laptops, the city created a secured wireless network. This will provide wireless access for consultants, auditors, attorneys, council members, and the public while visiting City Hall or attending meetings held at the DOC. Virtualizing our servers has provided a cost savings on hardware, allows for flexibility, allowed us to receive a credit from PG&E for going green, and allowed for redundancy at the DOC with installation of fiber from City Hall to the DOC. Servers cost between $10,000 and $20,000 with software and setup costs. And we have had several that were 4 years old, out of date, and needing to be replaced. By virtualizing our servers, we saved approximately $35,000 in hardware replacement. The flexibility to increase the size of a server without having to shut down and impact staff time. For example, we were able to expand a file server in 5 minutes to accommodate a 280 gigabyte file. The ability to have redundancy is invaluable, with the possibilities of equipment failure and the ease of data recovery, no more tape backups. We also set up a dedicated scan station to make it more efficient to scan to EDMS, our electronic document management system. We purchased a high-speed scanner that accommodates various size paper and allows for verifying and processing documents. This is a huge time saving because most paperwork is not a standard size and weight. Another improvement for the community and staff is the availability of electronic fill-in forms on our website, which is convenient for the public and easy for staff to process with the increased legibility. This concludes my presentation, and I'm available for questions if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for all your hard work. Not only as mentioned here, but all your personal assistance with some troubles I've had with my system. So thank you for all that. It's much, much appreciated. Any comments or questions from the council?
Yeah, I just want to personally thank Sandy because everybody knows I'm not a not well, but I don't do computers well. So I'm constantly asking Sandy, how do I do this? How do I do that? And she's very patient with me, and I'm getting there. Right, Sandy?
Yes, you are.
Slowly but surely, I'm getting on that new system. So thank you for your patience, seriously. Really means a lot to me because it's really frustrating. But you've helped me calm down a little bit.
Great, thank you. And if I had to vote for in priority order, the Wi-Fi at City Hall is my favorite. So thank you. No one else? Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.
And with that, we'll move to the public forum. Everybody will have 2 minutes. The first item is about the Kehoe Ditch. Paulette?
Okay. All right, my name is Paulette Eisen, and I reside with my husband at 439 Kehoe Avenue. We have met with basically all the neighbors. I've met with all the neighbors in one way or another that have the Kehoe ditch next to their property. And the one thing that we all agree on is we want a legal and permanent solution that will address the erosion, the potential flooding, and any environmental issues that might cause lawsuits to the city and further delays to any action being taken. At this point, we were at the meeting today for the retroactive permit of work done in 2009, which is before the time I ever moved here to Half Moon Bay. And, for us, we don't really understand it very much, except that it's something that happened in 2009, and since 2009, absolutely no action, nothing has been done to the Kehoe ditch. It is the city's, from what I understand, the city made this ditch, happen because of water runoff. Many, many years ago, lots of things have changed over the years. And if anything, of course, more water runs through it, and there's more potential still for flooding because of storms, crazy weather that we all know is happening, like it happened in Boulder, Colorado recently. And we're very, very concerned about how we are being protected from, well, erosion is happening. Many of the neighbors that were at the meeting talked about how their property is no longer the same property that they first, received when they bought their their piece of property there. So those are the issues, and we want this to be agendized. We want to see this on the agenda so that we can at least get the ball moving forward, because right now it seems to be totally stalled out.
Great. Thank you for your comments very much. And I'll discuss with our city manager putting this on a future agenda. Thank you. Our next speaker is Lenny Roberts. I don't have a topic, so Lenny.
Good evening. I'm Lenny Roberts. I'm speaking for Committee for Green Foothills. And I believe you received a letter last week from the law firm Whitwer and Parkin. And I'd just like to highlight that request that the law firm has made on behalf of Committee for Green Foothills and Carl Hoffman. This is regarding the Main Street Bridge. We request that the City Council rescind and reconsider your decision of September 17th and make absolutely clear that you have not and will not foreclose any alternative or take the position that any rehabilitation alternative is infeasible and or does not meet the city's project objectives. This is based on the need to consider all feasible alternatives as you carry out your review under the California Environmental Quality Act. Agencies must not take any action which gives impetus to a planned or foreseeable project in a manner that forecloses alternatives or mitigation measures that would ordinarily be part of CEQA review. And the other point I would like to make tonight is that the funding that you obtained for from the federal government allows existing bridges that are historic to be eligible for federal funding under the aesthetic value and historical significance attached to famous structures, covered bridges, and stone arches. So you should not rule out the rehabilitation of the bridge, and every effort should be made to rehabilitate the bridge, in our opinion. Thank you.
Lenny, thank you very much for your comments. Next item is, I have got, I'm sorry, I can't read the handwriting very well. I have Rose and Carol.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. My name is Rosemary Garcia Fontana, and this is my friend and neighbor, Carol Martin. And we are both residents of Ventura Street here in Half Moon Bay, and we have two very simple requests. First, please see the poster with photos of our street that we gave the city clerk. It shows the very serious deteriorated condition of Ventura Street. Also, please look at the petition. All our neighbors signed the petition asking that our street be considered a top priority for the next time paving happens in Half Moon Bay.
We have seen streets all around us be repaved recently. Valencia Street on the west, Alameda on the east, other very small streets in the Miramar, and ours seems to be about the only street that's been neglected. We were never informed about the decision process for working on our street, so we're really unsure as to why we haven't had any work done or even discussion about why our street is in such poor repair and there's no plan to make it better for us. It's actually quite a safety issue right now, and if you look at the corner of Mirada and Ventura, the only kind of asphalt that's still there is only 16 feet wide, which makes cars turning out onto Mirada and cars turning onto Ventura from Mirada almost head on. So it's really a safety issue. There's incredible potholes. We, of course, don't have street lights, so even walking there is a safety issue. It's quite an eyesore if you take a look at those photos.
You know, I reside on Ventura Street since 1995, and I don't ever remember a serious paving project ever being done on our street. So our request is very simple. Please consider our street as a top priority for the next time paving happens in Half Moon Bay. Thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments, and thank you for the dual comments. That was particularly informative and helpful. So I took some notes, and I'll follow up on this. We do have a paving program. It's a multi-year program, and I'll definitely look into Ventura Street and see where it ranks in it. So thank you for that. Thanks for bringing it up. Next item is, the speaker is Susan Boyer.
Hello. My name is Susan Boyer. I'm a resident of Half Moon Bay. I live on Kelly Avenue. And the city is, I guess, got a grant to do some sidewalks on the 400 block of Kelly Avenue. And some of us have an issue with this, not the sidewalk itself, but that access to our driveway in front of our house is going to be restricted. The sidewalks are, what's unique about this area is we're on the south side of Kelly where the bike lane is. We have no street parking in front of our house. So people park in front of their house like a driveway, you know, you pull in. Well, when they put the sidewalk in, there's going to be a curb and we're not going to be able to pull in to park. We're only being able to park right in front of the garage, and so we're going to be restricted to like 2 parking places. And there's at least 4 houses on the street that currently park, you know, more, 3, 4, up to 5 cars in front of their house. If we're not able to park in front of our house, we're going to have to park on the street, and we're going to have to park on the other side of the street. Because we can't park in front of our house, because it's a bike lane. So we have to park across the street. I have 2 grandchildren. I have to walk them across the street to put them in a car. It's going to be a safety issue. There's no stop sign, no crosswalk. There's not going to be enough parking places. Right now, if you go down Kelly in the evening or on a weekend, those places are all full. We're going to have to go blocks away to find parking. And, you know, I think our situation is unique because of the bike lane. I can understand the code and, you know, they say that it's maxed out at 25 feet of curb access. But since we don't have any on-street parking, it seems like you could give us a variance or something so that we're able to park, you know, in front of our house. And that, let's see.
And Susan, I believe you sent an email to me on this topic, correct?
Yes, I did.
So yeah, we'll follow up with you on this.
Okay.
So I need to see it. I need to go there and we'll follow up.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next item is, next speaker is Aaron Tormey.
Hi. I'll do my best to keep this short. My name is Erin Tormey, and I'm the founder of the Coastside Certified Farmers Markets, and we're now in our 12th year of operation here in the city of Half Moon Bay, and we're really proud of the successes that we've achieved both nationally, statewide, regionally, and locally as being an exemplary model of a California Certified Farmers Market. Our operation and rule set is actually being used right now as a basis for new legislation that's being developed to further strengthen and defend the California Certified Farmers Market program. I have copies of the current legislation that defines California Certified Farmers Markets, and a copy of the agenda report from a city council meeting of November 18th, 2008, which reflects the city's decision to allow only certified farmers markets to operate within the city limits. And I provided these to staff a few weeks back in September, and I have copies for everybody here, which will help maybe illuminate the issue that I'm having here. Coastside Farmers Market has always held and paid for a Half Moon Bay city business license in accordance with both the legal definition of a certified farmers market and with the ordinances currently in place. However, this season, the city has made the determination that all of the participating farmers, ranchers, fishermen, and food producers that are participating in the market are somehow acting independently and therefore should have their own Half Moon Bay city license enabled to allow them to continue to participate. The alternative offered was that the Coastside Farmers Market would be compelled to consider each participant and their employees an employee of the farmers market or an employee equivalent. Both proposals are just budget blasters for our operation, which is compelled by the, and limited and restricted, I guess is a better word, by the provisions of our permit to only be operating a total of 128 hours a year. And the increased fees that are proposed effectively render the Coastside Certified Farmers Markets financially and economically unsustainable. Can I have another minute? Besides the fee increases, which are staggering, both plans are also out of alignment with the legislation that's currently in place for certified farmers markets, and the interpretation of the ordinance results in Half Moon Bay becoming a significant outlier in comparison to other California cities. And if there's a more effective way to put this, what I would consider a treasured community asset out of business, I'm struggling to imagine what that might be. So I have other comments, but I'll just get to the chase. A code enforcement officer was actually sent out to the market on the 5th of October this year and started yellow tagging individuals. As a matter of record, I actually have a copy with me. I paid my fees for the year. As far as I'm concerned, the certified farmers market is in compliance, so I'm not sure if the council's aware that that occurred, but it did. I did get some correspondence back from staff that those yellow tags were premature, but I'd just like to schedule this issue as an agenda item on a city council meeting within the next 45 days. I'd also like the council's assurance that I will not be encountering any more code enforcement officers or other tactics that disrupt the operations of the certified market until we're able to resolve this issue.
Aaron, thank you for your comments and for your the points you made tonight. I'm going to ask the city manager to agendize this topic so we can get the staff view. I don't know, Tony, if you have any other comments, but we'll put this on a future agenda.
Yeah, we're aware of the issue, and I think a council discussion at some point probably is in order.
Great, thank you. Next speaker is, I have Chad Hooker.
Good evening, Chad Hooker. I live here in Half Moon Bay. I'm here to talk about the bridge, and I think the five of you kind of wish we'd all stop talking about the bridge because you decided about the bridge last month, but there are some significant issues that will come up at this meeting tonight regarding the historical significance of the bridge. My piece in that is just to point a few things out to you that you may not have been aware of when you made your decision a few weeks ago. I have in front of me the October 9, 2009 Caltrans assessment report of the bridge. And it's a series of check boxes as well as other comments. And one of the things on here that is noted says historical significance, and it is eligible for that notation. You should be aware that the city of Half Moon Bay has it on the historical registry within the city since 1982. There is a plaque on the bridge that says that it's historical. Caltrans declared that bridge historical in 1984, and in 1990, Caltrans put together a book that's called Historical Highway Bridges of California, and lo and behold, it has our bridge in it. So what does that mean, that it's a historical bridge? Well, there are some rules about tearing down historical structures. I'm a little disorganized here, but I think I know what I want to tell you. The National Registry of Historic Places has qualifications for how a bridge can be listed, and this bridge does qualify for that. You should be aware also that I've got all my little pages dovetailed wrong here. Demolition of the Main Street Bridge is precluded because it's a historical resource. The Main Street Bridge is listed in the city's historical resources inventory adopted pursuant to Chapter 1839 of the City Code. And that reads, prior to authorizing the issuance of a demolition permit to remove any building or object of historical resource inventory from the site, procedures are set forth that need to be followed. The property owner shall submit evidence from a qualified professional that the building or object is a hazard to public health or safety, and repairs or stabilization are not feasible. I don't think those findings have been made, so I think you really need to look again at the decision you made last month and not preclude the repair of the bridge. Thank you for your time. Oh, just one further note. You might want to know there's been all this discussion about how wide our bridge is, how narrow our bridge is. The driving lanes on our bridge are 11 foot 4 inches wide. From bumper to bump, from wall to wall, it's 24-foot bridge, but we've got those little curb bumpers. They're 11 foot 4 inches. On the Golden Gate Bridge, the lanes are 11 feet wide. They go 60 miles an hour on that bridge. I just don't think we got a safety issue there. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Chad. The next speaker is John Lynch.
This will be short and sweet. The action that the City Council took 4 weeks ago on the Main Street Bridge has produced such an uproar among the citizens of Half Moon Bay and the whole coastside. The populace feels that it was no less egregious than what the Fire Board did last year. We know that they failed. The citizen acrimony will not subside until there is an amicable solution to the Main Street Bridge, whether it takes 1 year, 5 years, or whatever. It promised to be an ongoing struggle. Then, and only then, will the fat lady sing, because we got to put this divisive issue behind us. And another matter, we don't have to worry about getting money for the bridge. The Tea Party in the United States is going to shut down the government. There won't be any money for a bridge.
Well, that would create another set of issues. Thank you, Mr. Lynch. And our last speaker is David Eblovi.
Chad brought it up. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and fellow council members. My appearance here is, and the packet that was given to Mr. Kandati by Mr. Hooker, who was kind enough to bring it up, is in direct relation to Council Resolution C-2013-47, which you all know well, you voted on roughly 4 weeks ago. As a concerned citizen, I undertook a detailed review, which is not finished yet, but a detailed review of the documentation, history, and associated issues that led to your vote to destroy the Main Street Bridge. The results of that review are contained, preliminary results of that review are contained in the documentation that you have in front of you and the associated exhibits, which are collectively intended to serve as a courtesy notice of my intent to forward this information at the end of the week to Caltrans District 4 Office of Local Assistance. The problem we have has not been discussed here, to my knowledge, and that is that in his July 16th, 2010 Highway Bridge Replacement and Rehabilitation Program, package submittal, sorry, that's a mouthful, Half Moon Bay engineer Mo Sharma wrote that section 6.2.10 of the Local Assistance Program Guidelines was not applicable to the Main Street and Porcitos Creek Bridge project. This is in Exhibit 1. I understand that that almost certainly means nothing to you, but let me say this definitively. That statement was not correct, and it's important. The relevant portions here, and I'm probably going to go over my 2 minutes, and I beg your patience while I do so. The relevant portions here of Section 6.2.10 of the LAPG state as follows. A historic bridge is a bridge that is listed on or eligible for listing on the National Register of Historic Places. We're all aware, as Mr. Hooker has indicated, that the bridge is fully eligible and certainly will be on that register shortly. The next section, 6.2.10, section 3, a U.S. code, which I don't need to state here, authorizes the use of HBRRP funds for the reasonable costs associated with actions to preserve or reduce the impact of an HBRRP project on the historical integrity of a designated bridge. But here's the really important one. Section 6.2.10.6. A local agency that proposes, not votes, but proposes to demolish a historic bridge for a replacement project with HBRRP funds shall first make the bridge available for donation to the state, another local agency, or to a private individual. This can be accomplished by notifying the State Historic Preservation Officer, Caltrans, or other counties in the state. The funding for this entire project is based on and predicated upon an inaccurate and incorrect statement that was filed with the state to secure state and federal funds. And actually, just to clarify that, I already did. This is on top of the 13 individual violations of local, state, and federal law that your vote, most of your votes, blatantly ignored. These violations were detailed in a letter dated September 11th, 2013, and sent to City Attorney Mr. Condati by the law firm of Whitwer and Parkin, LLC. Those are also in the letter for brevity. I'm not going to go through them here.
Lastly, can you wrap up, please? Thank you.
I'm sorry. Lastly, I just want to document, you know what, I'll cut to the chase. I need to assert the notion that if you cannot or will not take immediate corrective action, your constituents are going to. The federal and state funding of this project is premised upon an inaccurate filing filed by a consultant working for you and for me. The non-compliance and the continued expenditures has to stop. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. And thank you very much for your comments. The final speaker is George Mutif, and no hats, George.
Now, you know that's my favorite hat. Now, out of respect to you, it's sitting there instead of on my head. George Mutif, 408 Redondo Beach Road, Half Moon Bay. I have two issues. I'll try to be brief. The first one, I don't know if Katie's still here because I don't have eyes in the back of my head, and I don't know if she's interested either, but beyond coons, we have an issue here that's been going on for years. It's getting worse every year. And this year, by far, is the worst year. And it's coyotes. Not only are they coming in from the hills, but they're living here on the coast in dens, and I happen to be fortunate enough to have one within 100 yards of my place. I also have livestock, and those two don't seem to get along very well. And I have gone and talked to every agency that I can think of, save local, starting with the Humane Society, the SPCA, and going to the feds. And I've gotten a, gee, that's a shame, that's too bad. Wish you luck. Have a nice day. I am asking you guys, as my last alternative and resource, if there's something that Half Moon Bay can do about this issue before it gets out of hand. I know that we've had a lot of cats. This is going to sound crazy, but some people are into their cats. I happen to have cats, and I'm into mine, among other critters. Kenyatta Cove got cleaned out. That was about 2 months ago. We are seeing this up and down the coast. I can hear them coming in from the hills. From the east, both north and south of me, and like I said, I know that I have a den less than 100 yards from my house. I will take care of it if I have to. I'd prefer not to. I'd prefer help, and that's why I'm asking you here. On another note, and I'll make this even briefer, what they said, I support. I would strongly, I can't emphasize it enough, strongly urge this council to reconsider your decision on the bridge and collect more data and more information and make a better informed decision. And I really don't care if it takes 6 months or a year. I would appreciate that very much on multiple levels, probably the primary level being that we've just gotten done with a recall that really tore this town apart, tore the whole coast apart. It was a nasty affair. I would ask that you be sensitive, if for no other reason, to that and to the community that you serve, and respect us enough to recognize that we might very well be going through maybe a recall, maybe not, maybe litigation, maybe not, maybe an initiative, maybe not. There are multiple options available to us, your constituents. I am very hopeful that we don't have to use any of them, that you, in your kindness and understanding, recognize that the natives are restless, that maybe somebody might have made a mistake. Let's come back and take another look at it. I would really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Whose pen is this?
George, thank you very much for your comments. Everybody, thank you for attending and for all of your comments. I appreciate that we took notes on everything that was said tonight. Moving on to the next item on our agenda, which is the consent calendar. Any discussion or a motion?
I would make a motion, we approve the consent calendar items 1 through 10, and I don't think there's any that require enunciating.
I would second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? None. Motion carries. Moving on to, catching up here, item number 11 to the city attorney.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Kowalczyk, members of the City Council. Item 11 is a resolution authorizing the city to enter into a joint powers agreement relating to the California Municipal Finance Authority and approving issuance of revenue bonds by the Municipal Finance Authority for purposes of conducting a bond issue for the existing residential low-income housing project at 1101 Main Street. That is the low-income housing project along Main Street that's immediately to the north of Seymour. And the bonds will be used to facilitate two things. One is the refinancing of the debt that was created when that project was originally constructed in 1996. And the second is to fund the rehabilitation, a rehabilitation project for that development that will address critical repair needs on building exteriors, including new siding, windows, and roofs. That will, among other things, improve the energy efficiency of the project and result in some cost savings. This is a bond issue that would be headed up by the Mid-Peninsula Housing Corporation. It does not involve any expenditure of city funds, nor is the city at risk should the bonds go into default. But under a quirky provision of federal tax law, in order to qualify for tax-exempt bond financing, the City Council has to approve this resolution and essentially be the sponsor of it. I believe there might be someone from Mid-Penn here that would like to address the council. I don't have anything further to add unless there are questions.
Once again. Good evening, Mayor and honorable council members. My name is Ben Barker. I'm with the California Municipal Finance Authority. We are here this evening to conduct a public hearing pursuant to the Federal Tax Equity and Financial Responsibility Act, also known as TEFRA. TEFRA requires that a public hearing be held by the governing body of the jurisdiction in which the project to be financed is located, and the governing body approve the proposed financing. The city has conducted several hearings in the last few months. Mid-Peninsula Housing Corp proposes to obtain tax-exempt financing in an amount not to exceed $8 million to finance and/or refinance the acquisition, rehabilitation, and improvement of a 36-unit multifamily housing development known as Main Street Park Apartments, located at 1101 Main Street in the city of Half Moon Bay. The California Municipal Finance Authority is a joint powers authority formed to assist local governments, nonprofit organizations, and businesses with taxable and tax-exempt financing. The debt to be issued by the CMFA will be the sole responsibility of Mid-Peninsula Housing, and the city will have no financial or legal obligations or responsibilities with regard to the payment of the debt. All financing documents will carry disclaimers that the loan is not an obligation of the city. The city will also bear no cost with the issuance of the proposed debt. This is a private loan with the borrower and with the bank. Through the financing activities, the CMFA shares a portion of the issuance fees with their member communities and makes a donation to support the local charities. With respect to the proposed financing, the city of Half Moon Bay will be the recipient of 25% of the CMFA's issuance fees and will be granted to the city's general fund. It is recommended that City Council adopt a resolution approving the issuance of the bonds by the CMFA for the benefit of Main Street Park Apartments. Such adoption is solely for the purpose of satisfying the requirements of TEFRA, the code and the California Government Code, Section 6500. The resolution will also authorize the mayor or designee to execute a joint exercise of powers agreement with the CMFA. And with that, I'll take any questions if there are any.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions or comments from the council? No. So I have so since this requires our approval to move forward, then we should ask for something. I don't know what. Should we name it after Marina, perhaps? Or, no, just,
Do you want a room?
I might need one.
I'm afraid it's not that much money. So.
Yeah. So, but no, thank you for your presentation. And I understand that it's a quick question that this is for refinancing and for improvements, not for expansion. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, great. Is there any, I'll take a motion.
We need to open the public hearing before.
I am opening the public hearing. Do I have any comments on this? I don't have any. I am closing the public hearing. And
Through the chair.
Yes, please.
I talked with Tony today, but I really kind of missed this part. I don't quite understand. With respect to the city of Half Moon Bay, it's expected that 25% of the issuance fee will be granted by CMFA to the general fund of the city. Such grant may be used for any lawful purpose. Now, my understanding was, similar to what we did with Seacrest, we're kind of just the public conduit to handle this. I don't quite understand the fees we'd be getting back.
So as part of CMFA's policy, whenever we issue bonds, we share a portion of our fees with the nonprofit borrowers. We give them a reduction of the issuance fees by 25%, and we also give 25% of the fees that we bring in back to the host municipality. Generally, there's never any out-of-pocket costs by the city for holding a TEFRA, but as being a partner with the CMFA, we just share our fees with you. So it just goes to your general fund, and you can use it however you would like.
Great, thank you. And so we had the hearing. Do we need a motion on this? Yes, I had a motion. So what was my comment? 1 second, I lost my thought here. I've closed it, yeah. Please.
There's a resolution in the packet that you're asked to adopt.
If there isn't further comment, and I think this is great. I know the Main Street housing has been very valuable for a lot of families there. And as you can see, with many children live there with all their little bikes. So if there's room for any improvement there, maybe some expanded areas that are covered to protect those kids' bikes would be great, because there must be about 100 of them sitting out there. But I'm happy to make a motion you've conducted the public hearing, so we'll adopt a resolution to become a member of the CMFA and to approve the financing of the project by the CMFA.
Second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. And thank you, thank you. Item number 12.
Yes, you're familiar with this item, but I need to give you a little bit of the history. As you're aware, in 2009, the city undertook a process of updating its zoning maps to convert them to a GIS-based system. And in the process of doing so, a number of minor discrepancies and errors were noted that needed to be addressed. And this was simply the result of existing printed maps being converted to a much more accurate GIS-based system. Under the zoning code, when there's a question about the precise location of a zoning district boundary, the Planning Commission has the authority to make a determination about where the line should be drawn specifically. And so what the City Planning Commission did in 2009 was it adopted a resolution making a number of these corrections and adjustments. One of them was to correct the zoning district boundary between the existing cemetery parcels on Highway 92 and the Andrini parcel, which is zoned industrial to the rear of it. The cemeteries have the zoning designation of public service. The Planning Commission found that the existing map, which appeared to show the public service zoning extending into Andrini property and the Andrini industrial zone cutting off the end of the cemetery parcel, Planning Commission found that that was an inadvertent error and adopted a resolution making that correction. All of the minor corrections were sent up to the Coastal Commission for certification. A 4-year process we went through in order to get this finally set for a hearing before the Coastal Commission. Among all of the minor corrections that were made, however, this one the Coastal Commission determined, or the Coastal Commission staff determined, required an actual amendment to the zoning map, not just a correction. And so the Coastal Commission in August certified the amendment, but under our code, the way a zoning map amendment is processed is that it's by ordinance. So we actually got the process a little bit backwards here, where the Coastal Commission certified it, and now we're bringing it back for you to formally approve it as an ordinance. So I've spoken with Coastal Commission staff about this process. We're doing this the right way. It's just that the history of this is why we ended up doing it in the reverse order. I'm happy to answer any questions or respond to comments, but I have nothing further.
Questions, comments, or a motion from council?
Comment that I'm happy that we're finally getting this off the books. And saying that, I would move to introduce an ordinance to the City Council of Half Moon Bay, adopting the LCP implementation plan map amendment to modify the industrial and public service zoning district boundaries to conform with the property boundaries of property at 151 Main Street, APN 056-230-100-110, and adjacent cemetery parcels, APNs 056-230-030-220, and 230.
I second it.
A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item number 13, please.
Yes, you've seen this one a number of times in the past. Recently, the City Council has amended Title 18, the zoning code, to adopt residential standards for the R1B3 zoning district, as well as amending Chapter 1822 of Title 18 to require use permits for on-sale alcohol establishments, as well as for location of wireless telecommunications facilities or cell towers. Currently, the code doesn't have any regulations relating to these items. The council has, on a number of prior occasions, adopted this interim urgency ordinance while we navigate through the Coastal Commission certification process for a more permanent update to our code to address these important matters. I'm happy to answer any questions or comments, but I don't have anything further.
I don't have any comments, questions, or a motion.
I think, first off, people often question what our staff and council does, particularly our city attorney. I mean, this is a lot of busy work. So I thank all of you for getting involved in this to clean up these ordinances that have been hanging on us for years and years and years. So again, at this, I would, by motion, adopt an urgency ordinance extending the interim ordinance number C-2013, amending Chapter 1806, parentheses, residential use, parentheses, R1, R2, R3, and Chapter 18.22, parentheses, use permit of the Title 18 zoning of the City of Half Moon Bay Municipal Code to add sections 18.22.055, parentheses, on-sale alcoholic outlets, and sections 18.22.240 through 18.22.30, wireless telecommunications facilities, and declaring the urgency thereof. Thank you.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item number 14, please.
Yes, thank you. This is an amendment to Chapter 1336 relating to sewer service charges. Currently in Half Moon Bay, sewer service charges are based upon an estimated volume of sewer generated for residential uses, multiplied by a strength factor to determine the amount of the charge. The amount of sewer discharged is based upon an estimate that's used by calculating water consumption data over the wet winter months when people are unlikely to be irrigating their lawns and landscaped areas. Currently, the code provides for the measurements of that water consumption data to be made between the months of December and March, and we use Coastside County Water District billing records to determine the amount of water consumed. But what this amendment will do will align our code requirements with the actual dates that Coastside goes out and measures water consumption. And their billing cycle does not occur during the beginning of even numbered months. It's odd numbered months. So the new billing cycle, instead of December through March, will be November through February. So it's a very minor amendment, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you very much. Any comments or questions from the council? Motion, please.
I would move we introduce ordinance of the City Council of the City of Half Moon Bay amending Chapter 13.36 sewer permits and fees of the Half Moon Bay Municipal Code.
Second.
For motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item number 15, Ed, thank you so much for waiting. Now we're getting to it. So item number 15, General Plan Advisory Committee, to our city attorney.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Kowalczyk, members of the City Council. Alex Kajikian will be presenting this report tonight.
Great, thank you very much. Alex, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. The item before you this evening is an update to the General Plan Advisory Committee process. At the September 3rd council meeting, the City Council established the General Plan Advisory Committee and adopted the General Plan Advisory Committee mission statement and principles of participation. That included a residency requirement that only City of Half Moon Bay residents can serve on the General Plan Advisory Committee. The committee application period ran from Friday, September 6, 2013 to Friday, September 20th. During the period, city staff received several comments/complaints from interested applicants that were unable to serve on the committee due to city residency requirements. And although they regularly frequented and/or owned businesses in the city limits. Furthermore, the city did not receive a large enough applicant pool to establish a committee that, I quote, reflect the diversity of the community to the greatest extent possible, as stated in the adopted General Plan Advisory Committee mission statement and principles of participation. In order to attract more applicants and stakeholders, city staff recommends the following changes. Change the committee residency requirement from the City of Half Moon Bay residents to include all Coastside residents and owners of City of Half Moon Bay businesses. Extend the application period to November 6, 2013. Have the mayor appoint a council subcommittee consisting of 2 council members to review the applications and listen to any applicant presentations, and recommend a list of applicants for city council appointment at the December 17th, 2013 city council meeting. This would also include amending the mission statement and principles of participation to include these listed changes that I just stated. The city has notified all applicants who have submitted applications of tonight's agenda item and will continue to keep applicants abreast of the appointment process and key dates. This concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Alex? Otherwise, I would like to invite Ed Love to speak. Ed, and thank you for your patience for our meeting. I know it was thrilling and enjoyable.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Ed Love. I'm an architect here in Half Moon Bay with my office at 720 Mill Street in Half Moon Bay. And I was all set to come here and give an impassioned plea to allow business owners within Half Moon Bay to be eligible for the GPAC. And then I downloaded the agenda, and Alex has fine staff report and found that the staff report included that alongside of co-side residents and extension of it. So he kind of took the wind out of my sails. But I would still respectfully request that the council follow the recommendations in the staff report and pass the ordinance or resolution for, as it's stated in the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments, Ed. And I hope wherever we end up, it puts wind in your sails.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Any discussion for the council?
I totally agree with the staff report. The GPAC appointments are so critical to making this process work well. I mean, this is the direction of our city for probably the next for the 10 plus years. But I do think we need to take some extra time to totally flush out who's available for this and then come up with the absolute best candidates to bring back to the council. So I would recommend a couple of things. I would change the application period from November 6th to December 15th, so we have plenty of time to accomplish this. And then I would change that we have the list of applicants for city council appointment instead of the December 17th meeting to the January 7th meeting, again, so we have plenty of time to put this all together and do it in a very positive way. And I would thirdly volunteer Naomi Patridge and myself to be the subcommittee.
Well,
Your kindness is incredible. I'm sorry, Marina.
That's a lot of things in there. One, we have no meeting January 7th. So you wanted something to come back by then. So,
We can call
yeah,
it
and let's end it at the end of the year.
call it the.
We should. I think we've attempted, a great thing to include just City of Half Moon Bay, but obviously we have people like our speaker here who've had businesses who've been involved as part of architectural review. So there's a lot of people that have a stake in things that just happen to live over our lines. So I think it's good that we are looking at changing that to include people that are exceptional.
I do too. So, so Alan's made some suggestions, and Marina, are you suggesting we revert? Yeah, you're suggesting we stick with the language of the staff recommendation, or are you amending Alan's amendment?
I would like to have this end and wrapped up this year completely. Let's not extend this into January. And I'm fine if with Alan and Naomi being a subcommittee part of this, if that's what they wish to do.
If we pass this resolution, apparently the mayor gets to dictate who that according to the staff recommendation, the mayor gets to make that call, which is that's among my strongest powers. So Alan, in terms of trying to close this off at the end of the year, I think that does make sense to close it off by the end of the year. I know you're working with your calendar there. Do you have any refinements you want to make?
No, that's fine. If we want to wrap it up this year, then obviously our last meeting is the 17th. And then I would say let's bump it 2 weeks earlier. So let's wrap applications up. Let's make it Monday, December 2nd then.
I think that sounds good.
With that, Councilmember Alifano, there still has to be a subcommittee meeting held in between there, so I just have to make sure whoever the mayor recommends for this subcommittee that we would have to hold a meeting, a subcommittee meeting to hear through the applicants and get their presentations and then go ahead and get a recommendation for the full council for the December 17th meeting.
That sounds reasonable. And you going anywhere? No, we're good. Okay. So with the, Alan, you want to consider revising your motion?
So I would make a motion that we change the committee residency requirements from only City of Half Moon Bay residents to include all coastside residents and owners of Half Moon Bay businesses, extend the application period to December 2nd. Have the mayor appoint a council subcommittee consisting of 2 council members to review the applications and listen to any applicant presentations and recommend a list of applicants for city council appointments at the December 17th regular meeting. and amend the mission statement and principles of participation to include the above listed changes.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
With motion and second, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed or any abstentions? None. Motion carries. Alex, you have a comment?
Yeah, one last comment. I'm going to be opening up the period again then starting tomorrow, if that's okay with the council.
Started tonight.
Okay, got
Yes.
it. Starting this moment. Got it.
And hey, we're working, you're working.
Okay, so we'll get it back up on the website then.
Yep, thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you.
And with my newfound authority, I would like to appoint and ask that council members Patridge and Alfano, if you are willing to serve on the subcommittee, if you would do so.
Make it public so we can't say yes. Yeah, I'll serve.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And with that, that concludes our meeting. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Thank you, staff. What?
We have one more item. It'll be presented by City Clerk Siobhan Smith.
I'm offended.
They required me to turn the page. I apologize.
I thought you were all just waiting for my item.
Please.
So, Mr.
you.
Mayor, members of the City Council, before you tonight are two draft letters relating to the Mosquito Abatement District. Our appointee to the Mosquito Abatement District, Katie Martin, was here this evening and provided a pretty good background for you. So I'll just quickly let you know that we have two letters here. One is supporting a request from the local agency formation commission to the San Mateo County Department of Environmental Health to do some further research regarding the feasibility of actually transferring mosquito and vector services from the Mosquito Abatement District to the County of Environmental Health. So there's a letter to support that request. And then also, Councilmember Alfano, who serves on the Local Agency Formation Commission, would like to just solicit support from other cities in San Mateo County to see if they are also interested in supporting this effort. We're not requesting that the abatement district make any changes at this point. We're simply asking that there be some further fiscal analysis of whether it's even possible to make that transfer. So Mayor Alfano proposes that we send a letter to the other mayors in San Mateo. I'm sorry,
I want to be very clear about something.
I'm still upset about you skipping my items. So I've made
a correction for
Alan the mayor this evening. Anyway, so there's a letter included in your packet also that will go to the other cities in San Mateo County asking if they are willing to support requesting a feasibility analysis. Also, I've spoken with Martha Poyadas at LAFCO, and she does believe that although an individual city or agency can make a request for this kind of a transfer of service, it will have much more impact if other cities are interested in joining that effort. So I'm available to answer any questions, and otherwise these letters are here for your approval. Should you approve them this evening, then we will get them signed by the mayor and send them out in the next few days. Thanks very much. That would be Mayor Kowalczyk.
Yeah, just from a legal point of order, if I may ask the city attorney, with respect to the great position Alan holds on LAFCO, would it be wise for him to recuse on this vote? I'm just trying to protect us and him on that.
No, I don't see any need for that.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to be public.
Thank you, John. Good question. Any other comments or motion?
Yeah, I have some questions, because I did serve on LAFCO, and when we did review this, I voted against dissolving the matter because we wanted them to have the opportunity to do the changes that they were supposed to do. It appeared to me from Katie's report that they did do a lot of the things that we indicated in LAFCO that they should do. The one thing that they did not do, which surprised me, was hiring a new general manager. And so, but then I noticed that she said that they did hire an assistant, which we had recommended that they do something. My concern is, I'm for, I will support this, but my concern is that if we go through this process, and Dean Peterson is retiring, so there may be a change as far as the
Department of Environmental Health saying yes, that they would take it over. My concern is that the mosquito abatement district has done an excellent job. They really have. They have been very supportive here on the coast as far as any of the mosquito and the vector control and all of that. So I'm hoping that that doesn't change when it goes over to environmental health, because it will affect the farming here, because the mosquito people are out here constantly. And so that's my only concern. But as far as, sending the letter out and asking other people, I'm okay with that, but those are my concerns.
If there are no other comments, I'll make a motion to approve draft letters to the San Mateo County Department of Environmental Health requesting further evaluation of the feasibility of transferring mosquito and vector control services from the Mosquito Abatement District, MAD, to the County of San Mateo, and requesting support for such feasibility evaluation from other cities in San Mateo County.
The motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries unanimously. And unless there are any other secret hidden agenda items, I'd like to close our meeting, and I want to again wish Marina a very happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm happy to have spent it with you.
Thank you. Good evening.